Hi, my name is Zoe Streeter, and I'm pleased to be sitting with the new superintendent of the Parkland School District, Dr. Mark Madson. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us today. We all know that the role of a superintendent is really important, but I don't think a lot of us really understand what the role of a superintendent is. Can you explain to us what your role is as the superintendent and what you do for the district?
That's a really great question. I think sometimes the superintendent is viewed in a certain way because of all the things that happen within a school district. To me, I think one of the most important thing for the superintendent to do is really work with the school board and the community to implement and carry out the greater mission and vision of the school district. And that entails a lot of different things and a lot of different people. So working with the principals, the students, the staff, the community, making sure that everything that needs to happen is going to happen, and trying to remove as many barriers as possible so that students like yourself can succeed in any career field, in any career path that they choose to once they leave Parkland School District. So we look at many different areas. So we have to be able to make sure that the facilities are in place and that everything is safe and secure, and that the students have enough resources at their fingertips to make sure that they're able to fulfill those dreams that they have. We want to make sure that we're hiring great individuals and great staff. So the superintendent will play a lot of different roles within a school community. I know that if I would ask my fifth grade son, what does the superintendent do? And he'll probably look and say, well, you probably walk around a lot and go to meetings and talk to people. And that certainly is true, and I'm a really strong believer in the fact that, we do have to meet and we have to get things done, but at the same time, you have to get out, you have to get into the buildings, you have to see the kids and the teachers and the parents and the community to really get your eyes on what's happening so that you can implement things moving forward, and hopefully that things will continue to succeed. And one of the things coming here to the Parkland School District is that the community is set up so well already. This is a fantastic place with fantastic people, and the staff is just wonderful. And I'm so excited to get started here and hopefully be able to take what's already here and look at it and how can we grow just a little bit. So I think the most important thing is to keep that in mind and make sure that we're implementing that vision and mission and never accepting that, hey, the status quo is good enough. We're going to keep pushing forward and try to do the best that we can.
What drove you to apply for and accept the role of superintendent?
Well, living in the Lehigh Valley, obviously Parkland brings its own reputation, and being in the education field for so long, I've been able to work with a lot of people in the Parkland School District, in the academic world, in the athletic world, and just knowing the community. There's a lot of people where I'm from that live in Nazareth that might work in Parkland, and vice versa, that live in the Parkland School District that work at Nazareth, and you get to know people. And so when the opportunity came up, it wasn't something that I was like, hey, I'm actively looking, but when that one opportunity comes up, it would be foolish of me not to have looked at it, to say this is a fantastic organization with fantastic people. Let me put my name in the hat and see what happens. And as I was going through that process, obviously the academics, the arts, and the athletics, that reputation speaks for itself. All of the wonderful programs and wonderful people that are here, you know about for years growing up in the Lehigh Valley, and then being a teacher and a coach and administrator in a surrounding district. You know what Parkland brings to the table. And as I kept going through the process, interview after interview, and getting to know more and more people, I really just felt really comfortable that I felt that this is a family atmosphere, that even though the school district is really large and it's very diverse, and kids and communities are coming from all over the place, I really felt a sense of commitment to family and in each other and community and relationships, and that really is what kind of pushed me along as I went through the process, because when you're comfortable somewhere and you've been in an organization for as long as I was, it has to be the right fit. So I joked with the school board that they certainly were interviewing me, but I was interviewing them at the same time, because it had to be a comfortable fit for me, and I'm so excited and I'm honored to be here.
What are you looking to first accomplish when you take on the role of superintendent?
Well, we're in a really challenging time in education, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that we're still in, hopefully towards the tail end of this pandemic, but we're still right in it. And so a lot of our emphasis and focus has to be on, obviously, carrying out and finishing this year, but what can we do in the summer and beyond to prepare for what is life going to look like for Parkland School District in next school year, because we're still going to be, regardless of what everybody wants, this virus is still here, and we have to make sure that we're able to be safe for our students and our staff as we move forward, but yet hopefully be able to expand those opportunities so we can get back to a more normal setting. So I think a lot of the focus for these first 100 days are going to be focusing around that. What are we going to do to make sure that we're bringing back as many programs, as many activities in a safe manner so that people can start to feel more normal? I don't know that we'll quite be there yet at the start of this school year, but you see all of the things that are happening with the vaccinations and the numbers. And so there's a lot of positive emphasis that's happening right now. So I think a lot of the focus for me initially is going to be, again, meeting with people, listening to see what's happening, what are the strengths and weaknesses what have we learned from this year that we can apply to next year. And then beyond that, obviously, again, with the fantastic things that are happening within the district, what are some of those areas that we can still build upon? What are the things that we do really well, and what are some growth areas that we have? And to be able to work with the staff and the students and the administration on, hey, these are the things we're doing really well, we want to maintain that, but what are the areas that we can grow in? And I think the third piece is to make sure that we keep pushing the equity and inclusion and diversity within the district. It's such a big thing for me personally, and I know it's something that the school district is really working on. And we want to make sure that every student and every staff member and every community member feels accepted and welcomed in the Parkland School District. And we want to make sure that we have an emphasis on that.
What drew you to the field of public education?
Well, fairly traditional path going through college, and always thinking, hey, I want to be a teacher. But I think sometimes I didn't really recognize, well, why did I want to be a teacher? I think going through high school and even college thinking like a lot of other kids and athletes, hey, I'm going to go to the NFL. Of course, that's what I'm going to do. I mean, I don't need a backup plan. But I always felt that education and teaching was something that I could be good at. And what I learned was that I really wanted to coach. And I love athletics and I love sports and I love watching film and working, and even as an athlete on a team with my teammates, trying to help them and help the team get better. And so I think that those two things, the idea of wanting to be a coach really drove me into education more probably than anything else, especially when you get to college and you realize, hey, I'm probably not going to the NFL, so I do need another backup plan. And so I started my teaching career at Newton North High School in Newton, Massachusetts. So it's right outside of Boston. It's actually in the town that Boston College is located. And I'm from Pennsylvania, but moved up there and started my teaching career. And again, still kind of not lost, but I knew that's what I wanted to do, but I didn't know necessarily why or what was going to happen. And I had a tremendous mentor up there, Peter Capodalupo, his name was. We called him Coach Cappy. He was the football coach, and he hired me as an assistant coach. And I was there teaching, and he was just a wonderful human being, and I learned really quick, like, he was an English teacher, but he would be reciting Shakespeare to the football team and quotes and standing on desks, and I realized like his passion, and I couldn't do that. I'm not someone who's going to recite Shakespeare and stand on desks, but his passion that he had for kids and the life lessons that you learn, that it's so important, that the kids are so important. And each student and each family is the most important thing to that family. And he always would say, remember, Mark, you're coaching someone's son. And that always stuck with me, and something that I'm very passionate about. And each opportunity from there, you kind of build on that and realize what an impact you can have on students and their families. And you want to keep building on that.
Going off of your love for coaching and football, what do you love most about athletics, and what teams are you partial to?
I'll start with I'm very partial to the Steelers. So I'm a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan ever since I was a little kid. I can't tell you why. I have no idea. Probably because when I was really, really little, they were really good. And then they went through some rough times, but I was always a Steelers fan because football has always been my favorite sport. I'm also a Mets fan, and again, I have no idea why I'm a Mets fan, but I'm a Mets fan no matter what happens, no matter how good or bad they are. And right now they're struggling and having some tough time. And I love Penn State, so I didn't go to Penn State, but I love Penn State football. And so those are probably the three main teams that I watch and I look for. And again, athletics is a big part of my life, it's a big part of my family's life. I had one brother growing up, and we would compete in everything, and he was older, so of course I never won in anything growing up, and he would always beat me no matter what we were doing. And so football, I love football. It's the ultimate team sport. So you know, individuals matter, but the team is so important, and strategy is really important, and preparation is so important. So you learn all of these things that even after coaching and after being in athletics, it kind of helps drive you in whatever field and whatever job that you do. And the idea of team is so important. In high school, I also ran track and wrestled, and wrestling is a totally different sport than football. Because you have to rely, mostly it's a team sport, but you're really relying on yourself, and you really have to dig in and grind, and kind of that work ethic piece of listen, no matter what happens, ultimately you're responsible, and you need to put the work in no matter what it is, and that's a life lesson that hopefully kids are learning, not just through athletics, but through any opportunity that they're given, whether it's in theater, whether it's in the TV studio. These are things that are outside of what we consider the normal classroom and the normal curriculum. And they're so critical, those life lessons that hopefully kids are learning. We have to make sure that we're expanding on those where we can, and they're so important and so vital, and we want to make sure that we keep supporting that.
Do you have a favorite genre of music or musical group that you like?
You know, I really don't have a favorite. I think that for whatever reason, growing up in the 90s, we had so many different types of music, from the grunge rock to the hip hop rap scene, and kind of mixing in those things growing up all the way through, where I could be listening to Nirvana on back then on the radio, and then also listening to Dr. Dre. So it depended as I was going through, and with my kids, they're much more into the music scene, I think, than I ever was. So they are listening to some of the more popular music growing up now, when you hear it on the radio, or they don't use the radio, so their Spotify account or whatever. So you start to recognize and enjoy those types of songs as well. But when I bring up some of the old classic rock songs or rap songs, that's trash, Dad, that's no good. But as I've gotten older, I've also gotten a little bit more into country music. I don't know why. I never liked it when I was younger, so even on the way over on Pandora was Zach Brown radio. So, a kind of eclectic grouping in terms of what I like to listen to. So right now it's probably some hip hop music, but I'm leaning more towards country for whatever reason. What
do you enjoy doing with your family, and how do you like to spend time with them?
Anything that I can do to spend time with my family. So it really doesn't matter. We all have a lot of the same interests. Certainly with I have two boys, so with the two boys, they're very active in athletics, so we get to do a lot of things together in that regard. My daughter is really into theater and music, so I really got a great appreciation for the arts, and especially in theater, something that she really enjoys. And we get to, before the pandemic, we were able to go see Hamilton and some other shows in New York City, and we just love doing that. Anything we can spend time together. We do like to be outside, so we'll go on hikes when we can. We spend a lot of time, the boys and I spend a lot of time mountain biking. That's something that we really enjoy doing. And as you might be able to tell or not, but food is really important to me. So anytime we can to go out and eat as a family or go somewhere new, it seems that everything we do revolves around food. So food is really important to us. And anytime that we can spend, we know that eventually, with my daughter's going to college next year, my middle son will be going pretty soon, and then I have a younger son. So those times are fleeting. So whatever we can do to spend time together, we can. They sometimes don't want to spend as much time with mom and dad as they used to, but we try to, and they're usually pretty good about it, and get to enjoy time together.
You mentioned that your daughter loves musical theater. Are there any shows that you've seen together that you would consider your favorite?
Well, we went to, right before the pandemic, probably it was either in October or November of 2019, we did get to see Hamilton. And she'd always wanted to see that. So we finally got an opportunity to go see that. And we both really loved it. I'm a history guy, so being able to enjoy that from a historical lens, just to see how they would perform it and put it on. And it was amazing. We loved it. It was fantastic. And then when it came on Disney Plus, we were able to watch it again as a family over and over again. And she would be much better than I am to be able to recite and sing every song from that. But I think Hamilton was awesome. The first one that I ever saw was a long time ago with my wife. We went to see Phantom of the Opera, and that took me a little while to figure out. I remember like what was actually happening, but eventually we got to that point, and I enjoyed that one. But I think Hamilton by far was the best. We did see School of Rock, and we really enjoyed School of Rock as well, something that was really fun. But I would probably say overall Hamilton was the best.
Thank you again for taking the time to speak with us today, and we really are excited to see what you'll do as Parkland's new superintendent. For Parkland TV, I'm Zoe Streeter.